What's up, YouTube? It's time to review Frank Ocean's sophomore album, Blonde. I'm so late to this, it's not even funny, but I don't know. For some reason, I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to Blonde for the first time, and I did, so I'm glad I did. So this is the review, I guess. So we're going to start with the song run through like we always do. So starting with Nike's the first song. Love the beat, love the pitch up voice. At first, I didn't even know if that was him singing. I thought it was like a feature, but it is him singing. And I liked it, man. He talks about, R.I.P. A$AP Yams, R.I.P. Trayvon, because, I mean, this album came out in, like, 2016, I want to say. I don't know if it was 2016. It was a while ago. It came out a while ago, so that was when, like, rest in peace, all that was happening. I thought the sound was really cool. Liked how it was pitched up. Verse 2, he goes back to his normal voice. There's no more bass, and it's a nice contrast. In the bridge of the song, his voice is layered. It's really high pitched too. It's nice. And it's a really chill vibe, and I just have like I really liked it, man. It was a good opening song. Had his pitched up voice and the contrast with his actual voice, so I thought it was a cool, intro. Ivy plays, immediately catchy. Really sings on this one. He's talking about like we're not kids anymore. He thought that he was dreaming. Thought that was awesome. Then he sings the chorus the third time around, and he really like elevates the chorus, makes it louder and brighter. Talking about his broken relationship or whatever, and yeah, man, it was a cool outro too. I really liked Ivy. Then Pink plus White, catchy beat, more flow. Like a bass guitar maybe. There was more movement, maybe a faster tempo. I have all that written down, like kind of picked up speed, I guess, for that song. Nice hums. He hummed on that track. He had Beyonce as a backup singer, which I thought was hilarious. Like he just called up Beyonce and was like, hey, can you like sing maybe like 3 lines on my song? And she agreed to it. So that's crazy to me though, how you get someone like Beyonce to just essentially sing 2 lines at the end of your song, but kind of a power move. He has a skit, Be Yourself. This is actually from one of his childhood friends' mom, basically telling them like, don't do drugs, live a good life, all that stuff. And probably a deeper meaning with Be Yourself, but cool skit. And we go into solo. This one I didn't like as much as the first 3 songs. It's still a good song. I felt like it was a bit weaker intro to the song. He's still singing on the chorus, he's talking about being solo and then also being like so L-O-W, solo. And so I thought that was cool. Still a good song. I still understand why a lot of people love it. For me, I just didn't like it as much as I like the first 3 songs, but not a bad song at all. So Skyline 2, again, was kind of another questionable song for me. It kind of seemed like just a list of things that were going through his mind, and it didn't feel like an actual song that he made like to be played on the radio, It kind of just felt like what was going through his mind at the time. Still thought it was really cool. Really, again, Frank's singing is like amazing. He goes really good singing on it, and kind of feels like a what now, like what's coming after that. Especially when I did this song, when I was listening to the album, I listened to that and I'm like, I wonder what he's gonna do next. And the next song is Self Control. Again, really good singing from Frank Ocean. I loved this song too. This is like one of my favorites on the album. He's got someone named Austin Feinstein on it, something like that. He's got a really pitched up part that sounds cool. Singing was amazing. They've got Young Lean on it, who I didn't know who that was, but his chorus is cool. And Frank's part's like really good. I really like the outro. I really like the second half of the song especially. Yeah, man, I really like Self Control. So it kind of answered the like, what do we do now question after Skyline 2. Then we go to Good Guy. It's an interlude about loneliness. Nothing's working out for Frank, and it's pretty powerful, but it is just an interlude. Still nice, though. It was an interlude that felt more like a song. Probably, of all the interludes, it felt most like a song. It's just not a song, but it was still pretty cool. It was nice to listen to, so. Then we go to Nights. Nights, I had known probably the only song I knew off this album before, coming into this. Amazing song, one of the best beat switches of all time, in my opinion. The contrast from the upbeat rap from the first part to the second, really cool. Really nice electric guitar interlude, more Frank's pitched up voice. A line I like, rolling marijuana, that's a cheap vacation. Awesome line. Really cool, man. And it's split. It marks the complete middle of the album, which I thought is cool too. So literally signifies halfway through the album. So after that, we get a solo interlude from Andre 3000. Amazing voice, amazing rapping. Completely different vibe from the first half. I did not know he was on the album at all, so it completely threw me off guard. But, you know, Andre 3000's a legend, so he did his thing, and it was amazing. Then we go to Pretty Sweet. Again, probably the craziest vibe we're going to get on the album. Really loud, bright. Not really a song I have written, more like chaos to capture like the Wilder vibe. So I could definitely see the second half being a second half and being different from the first half of the album with Solo and that Pretty Sweet. He also has an interesting like kids choir that comes in too. Sounded almost like something Kanye would do. It sounded really good. And yeah, man, Pretty Sweet. It's a good song. Then we get to Facebook Story. This one is actually kind of funny, very ironic. It's the contrast where some dude won't add his like wife or girlfriend on social media, and she like breaks up with him for it because she thinks he's cheating on her, when in reality he just like doesn't use social media. So it's kind of like the weird, you know, how social media can cloud, you know, a person's judgment when you're right there in person. So I thought that was hilarious. Maybe not hilarious, but very ironic, kind of funny. And so yeah, that was Facebook Story skit. Then we go to Close to You, another short interlude. A lot more interludes on the second half of the album. Stevie Wonder comes in on this one though, and I thought that was really cool how he kind of had, he's got all these legends, you know, just at the ends of, you know, interludes or songs, kind of just giving them like a tiny piece of it. Thought it's pretty funny, man. It's Frank Ocean for you, man. We go to White Ferrari. So this to me felt more like the first half vibe. It kind of goes to White Ferrari. There's no chorus, just 3 verses. Really cool background music though, and cool background vocals on the third verse. I have, again, not really a song, more of a spaced out vibe, but I did like the 4th verse on it, and I've put it feels like you've reached ascension, because it's when like the music really pitches high, gets up high, and you just feel like you're floating. So I really liked White Ferrari too. To me, it kind of lost the second half vibe, but we'll talk about that later. Then we go to Siege Fried. I don't know if that's how you say it. Siege Fried. I don't know. This is probably my least favorite song on the album. There's really nice singing in the beginning, and it's a cool spaced out, like there's wavy, there's sonic beats on it there's a cool transition on it. To me, it was just almost like too much. It felt like really jumbled, felt like a lot of stuff was happening that I didn't really need in the song almost. Wasn't a huge fan of the thick voice he had on it too, like the really upfront voice. But I love the outro, and I thought the outro was nice, and there was a softer fade to it. So it's not really me. It's the least favorite song for me on the album, but again, it's not a terrible song, or it's not by any means a bad song. I just didn't enjoy it as much. But I still like, I feel like there's going to be people out there that this will be their favorite song on the album just because of the stuff he brings to it. For me, it was a bit too much. So yeah, my least favorite song, but I still see why people enjoy it, for sure. So then we go to Godspeed. I really liked Godspeed. Really liked the synths in the introduction. I liked Frank Ocean singing again. Felt more complete to me than the last song. Felt like there was a message and a purpose almost. At least a clearer one. And felt kind of more complete than Siege Fried. Kim Burrow, I think, is on it. She and Frank Ocean have a bridge on it, and then she takes the outro. So yeah, I thought that was cool. All right, and then finally we go to Futura Free. I think that's how you pronounce that. It's a font that Frank Ocean was inspired by. I liked it. I really liked it. Thought it was boastful. I thought it was a good closer. Like, it made sense to close with that song. Because sometimes I listen to an album and I'm like, I don't know why that song was last. It just seems so like random. But this actually made sense to me. He's talking about his mama. He's like, Mama, look, I'm making all this money. Like, I'm super, like, I'm rich now. Like, I'm doing good. And it felt pure. It felt like he was rapping from the heart. Good message. He had good transitions from the second and third verses. A cool beat that picks up at the end of the third verse. And then we get a skit kind of at the end. You know, he's talking, I think it's I want to say it's his brother or maybe a childhood friend that is giving the interview or something like that. And it does take up a while. This is like a 7 or maybe 9 minute song. I forget. But there's a 5-minute like skit at the end of it after like a silent interlude that comes in. That's pretty cool. You know, obviously you're not going to probably listen to that when you're listening to the song again, but it's just a cool, like, aesthetically pleasing part, I guess, to have at the end. And since it's the ending track, like, you cut leeway with that, and you, like, understand why they add, you know, references to their childhood or whatever, stuff like that. So, getting the actual review now, the rating and review section of it. So a lot of people were saying that the album is split into like two parts, or this like concept of duality, which I think is true. Like I said, Nights falls directly in the middle of the album, with the beat switch literally happening in the middle. The album is exactly an hour long, so 30 minutes there, 30 minutes there. So really cool concept that he was even able to put that together like that. It's amazing. Another huge thing that completely like blew me away was Blonde on the cover is spelled Blond, which is like the male version of blonde. Like if I had blonde hair, I'd be Blond. And the actual name, the title of the album that's like on streaming services is Blonde, which is like a female, blonde. Like if I say she's a blonde, it'd have an E at the end. So that like blew me away. I always thought it was just blonde with an E. Like I never even, like I would see the picture on the cover and then I'd see the name of the album, but I never like put the connection that there was an E on that and not there. Blew my mind, but obviously goes with the duality that, the stuff he faced with. So yeah, man, really cool. Just right off the bat before we even get into the album. So I definitely think that there is a split. There's a first half and a second half. I like the first half more. I like Ivy's probably my favorite song on the. Let's just get this out of the way. So favorite songs, Ivy is my favorite, but we also have Nights, Nike, Self Control, Godspeed. I love those. Least favorite are probably Siege Field, or however you say that, and Solo. I just didn't like them as much as I liked the others. And I think they both come at the second half too. So I like the first half of the album better than I like the second half of the album. But I still understand why, both sides are amazing and why people are going to like, all parts of the album. I thought some of the skits were a bit unnecessary, or maybe not unnecessary, but they're definitely put there for more like artistic purposes, obviously. Like they weren't really, because sometimes you get a skit and you're like, okay, yeah, that's just a skit. And then sometimes you get like a skit that has music in it, but it's kind of like a 30-second music clip and you're kind of like, what is this? So it felt more like an aesthetic thing instead of like a real song or a real skit. So not really unnecessary, but definitely just kind of added to the feel instead of the actual song. So those were cool. Might have been too many of them in my opinion. I don't really know. Especially if you're going to add the huge skit at the end of, Future Free. So I don't know. Because there are quite a few interludes. There's probably like 6 interludes or skits on this album, which I was not expecting there to be that much. So it definitely took me by surprise. Especially the beginning of the second half of the album. There's so many interludes there. But I'm not really sure. I feel like some fans kind of are pushing it a bit much, kind of trying to find a meaning that isn't there for the first half meaning and the second half meaning. I feel like there's definitely a concept of like duality throughout the album, but I feel like it's throughout the whole album. I don't feel like the first half is this and the second half is this. Like the second half starts off a lot different than the first half, but then I feel like it kind of just goes back to the original, kind of morphs back into the original, sound that we heard in the beginning, especially with Godspeed and White Ferrari being on the back. They kind of sound like they could have been in the front half too. So I don't know, maybe I guess that the first part of the second half where we have that, that loud part, we have Pretty Sweet, I think, and we have the solo interlude. Yeah, the solo interlude and Pretty Sweet kind of signifies a change in the album, but it doesn't feel like, the second half is completely different or opposite to the first half. So I think people might be pushing too hard. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all think there's a distinct difference between the second half of the album and the first half? Because I feel like it kind of, the two parts are kind of the same, and then the, obviously Pretty Sweet and the solo interlude from Andre 3000 are different. But yeah, that being said, Frank's singing on this is amazing. Like, his singing is amazing. His rapping is amazing. He has these like one-liners in there and like punchlines in there. That's amazing. The high-pitched vocals I thought were awesome. I love those. Ivy is like one of my favorite songs ever right now, man. I love Ivy. That is such a good song. I can't get enough of Ivy. Let's see, what else did I talk about? I think that's pretty much it. I thought that like definitely as an aesthetic, the album's there. Like people are gonna love the album for the aesthetic, for the rollout that happened all the like years ago. I get that. It's amazing, man. It's cool how the whole concept of duality is there. I just think it's more kind of sprinkled throughout the album instead of just first half, second half. And I think it flows pretty well. If I had to like dock things I didn't love about it, would be kind of too many skits that kind of, some of the skits I felt like weren't necessary, or some of the interludes could have just been made into songs, in my opinion. That's really the only main thing I disliked about it. That, and then kind of just a few weird parts on a few songs like Siege Fried and Solo, the first solo, not the Andre 3000 solo. Yeah, I mean, but I have to say, there's 17 songs, really only like 12 or 11 to 12 songs, but the album flows amazingly. There's not really any part that feels too long. There's not really any features on there. Like, there are features, but they play really small parts. It's mainly just Frank Ocean on there, and he carries the album obviously. But like, it doesn't feel like I need something else from someone else. It feels like I'm fine with just listening to Frank the whole time. His voice is amazing on it. He does really well. Yeah, man, overall it's a great album. Even the parts I don't like might grow on me, or I could see why other people like them. It's like, when I say I don't like a song, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not for me. But I totally get why, other people could like it. So with that, I think I'm going to give Blonde a 9 out of 10. Really recommend people listen to it. It took me so long to listen to it, but I'm glad I finally did. I still haven't listened to Channel Orange, so I might hit that up. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. And yeah, man, y'all comment down your favorite song, your least favorite song. Maybe, I know there's gonna be a lot of fans out there who know more about the rollout than I do, or know maybe he like mentioned what he was trying to get through with the album. If y'all could like comment what he actually thought about it, or what you think he thought about it, would be cool. And maybe talk more about the splitting of the album in halves. But yeah, man, that's all I got for this video. So thank y'all for watching if y'all made it this far, and comment down other albums I should do too. So yeah, that's all I got, man. Thank y'all for watching, and peace out.